everyone, Rico Reviews here. I just got done watching the second episode of Damien, so this is my Damien recap. So I gotta say, this show is quite thrilling. It basically left off a little bit of last week's episode, but it first began with this exorcism being performed, and I guess the guy was cured, and this woman who I have no idea who she is. She embraces him, and then all of a sudden you see her in present time, and you see one of the hell dogs right there. I'm like, oh, she's gonna. And this, I believe he's a priest, told her that she needs to get out of here. So I'm not quite sure who that character is. I don't know if it was really explained or not. But it also left off with Damien's ex-girlfriend Kelly dying, so his friend is trying to convince him to go to the funeral, but Damien is looking at all these pictures about the Antichrist, trying to figure out like what's going on with my life, what's really happening here. And he decides to go, but while this is going on, there's like this secret plot to take out Damien, and they have to stab him with this sword where his heart would be. And the priest just suddenly dies, and I guess you could call him his assassin, runs off, and these candles all just, I don't know word for it, they unlight, they get extinguished. I'm not sure, it all goes dark then. And he runs away, and Damien at the funeral is a bit hesitant to go into the church, and you see that guy around the corner there. And while we're in the church, here enters Barbara Hershey and her character Anne Rutledge, and you can see she's not standing, she's sitting in the back pew, and you can tell by the way she looks at Damien that she has some admiration toward him, and she wants to protect him. And all of a sudden they're talking about God and everything, and one of the windows break, and Damien goes out of the church, and he throws up because it was so intense. And we get to know a little bit more about Anne. She introduces herself again, and she tells him that she doesn't believe in God, that she thinks that it's all a bunch of baloney, basically, and that she's here to protect Damien. And all of a sudden she just disappears when his friends come out. I'm like, where did she go? She just disappeared in this cloud of smoke here. And Damien walks away, and all of a sudden we see Anne looking down. I'm like, she's looking devious, and there's this black crow on the ground, and all of a sudden she just stomps on it. I'm like, oh my god, like my heart stopped a little bit. I was getting chest pains watching that. Holy cow. I mean, on social media everyone thought that Barbara was gonna crush it tonight, but we didn't know that meant literally crush it. And you see the party at, I guess, Kelly's sister's house, then about her sister, and Damien blows up at this priest saying that God's like this, I don't remember exactly what he said, like this selfish person, like this is just a bunch of bull that all this is going on. And he leaves the party, but he finds out during the party that Anne Rutledge bought all of his work. So I'm like, Anne is definitely his #1 fan. So if anybody out there thinks they're Damien's #1 fan, you're wrong, because Anne's his #1 fan. So he tries to call Anne with the check, and he finds out that Anne's not there. But when he says his name, they're like, oh, we'll make sure Anne gets your call, Mr. Thorne. I'm like, huh, interesting. And then Damien's friend and Kelly's sister are going through her possessions, and they find out her notepad with all the notes she took about the Antichrist and Damien. So they're trying to catch on. They're catching on to what's going on. So I don't know how long those characters will last for, because they might get in the way of Damien. And Damien is taking pictures like he usually does, and that assassin is like stalking him. And all of a sudden at night there's like this big fight between them, and because he tries to stab Damien, and Damien of course always wins, and the assassin is defeated when he's like crushed by this car, and the knife suddenly drops into the sewer, and he Damien tried to help him and everything, but you know, it was too late. And the police question Damien because they find it coincidental that two accidents happened in that short amount of time, and here comes Barbara Hershey to the rescue because Anne says, I'm his attorney. I'm like, aw, here we go, Barbara Hershey saving the day. And she goes back to his apartment, and she's not quite impressed. She says that she can put him up in a more fancier apartment, and she then begins to tell Damien about his birth and the fact that he was adopted, which Damien didn't know anything about. And then Barbara's character said, if you want more answers about your birth and why Kelly had to die and all this happened, come with me. She like grabbed her purse to come with me, and let me tell you something. When Barbara Hershey says to come, you don't question it. You follow. And he follows her to what I assume is Anne's house. And I gotta say, Barbara Hershey's characters always live in these upscale places, so she definitely has great taste. And Damien's wondering what's going on, what's happening to him, and he wants to know why she bought all of his artwork. And she said that she's a fan of, I guess, sinister pictures, and she was starting to ask him about what type of about the knife that the assassin tried to kill Damien with. And when she shows him a similar one, he gets these visions of the past, and the way Barbara's looking at him, it's like, yes, you remember. And she says, follow me. And not only is this house that Anne lives in is gorgeous, it also comes completely furnished with a dungeon, and she takes him down there, and it's all the things from Damien's past, and it's very chilling because I'm like, how does she have all this stuff? And all of a sudden she says, welcome home, Damien. I'm like, oh my god. I gotta say, I love Anne Rutledge. I love this character. I'm looking forward to seeing more. A preview for next week saying that Anne is definitely a force to be reckoned with, that some people are scared of her. And she was going like this to Damien, and he was like a little taken back. So I'm very curious to see what that is about, and I totally look forward to seeing more of Anne. I gotta say, from Barbara Hershey's character Cora from Once Upon a Time and Anne, I would say Anne probably gives me more of the chills. I'm just, oh my gosh. But this show is just so addicting. I think I mentioned in my last Damien recap that I do not watch horror movies or TV shows at all, and Barbara Hershey is the sole reason why I am watching this, because I am a fan of her and her work. So if you definitely want this show to keep going, definitely keep Barbara on, because she's amazing. She's just stellar in everything she does. So I'll definitely be watching more of Damien so I can see not only where the story goes and if Damien's going to embrace his Antichrist self or go against what they want him to be, but also to see Barbara Hershey and just to see where that character goes, because I know there's more to Anne than meets the eye, so if you want to catch Damien, it is on A&E Mondays at 10 p.m. I hope you enjoyed this Damien recap. And until next time, stay regal, and remember, it's all for you, and welcome home, Damien.